Hello everyone, my name is Nuvola and welcome to a new video. So you just started a new world, you've got yourself a shelter and now it's day 2. You will need a steady supply of food. In this video I'll give you 3 extremely simple starter farms that you can build on day 2 and 3 of your world, which you can build in just a couple of minutes using the most basic of materials, and that can supply you with a steady amount of food that will get you going in your new world. Now the decoration is optional of course, it's mostly to inspire you to build something nice and immersive because it makes the game so much more fun to play. So without further ado, let me show you how these farms work. It all starts with a crop farm that you can enter by going through the fence gate over here, or just walk through the wall and the fence. That's also possible. It's mostly here to block the water from going even further, because if you want to harvest all of these crops, all you will have to do is walk up to the well where you can see this lever and some pockets of water behind these trapdoors. So when we flip the lever, the water flows out, just like that. All of the crops are automatically broken, so all you will need to do is walk a circle around the edge of the farm, replant all of your crops, and everything that you still have at the end of that is your harvest. There we go. Now let's see what we have left. We have over a stack and a half of wheat seeds left, 49 wheat, 30 carrots, 31 potatoes, and 10 beetroots in this case. Now those potatoes we can bake and we can use as a food source early on, because it gives you quite a bit of saturation, so it's a good starter food. To bake these we are going to use the auto smelter, which is over there. So let's go check it out. The auto smelter is very easy to use and it's supposed to look like a big furnace or like a big smoker, where you can smoke your food or maybe cook your ores and your stone if you want to. It's also very easily expandable, and all you will need to do to get it going is walk to the back where you can add your fuel. So if you have some coal laying around, you can add that to the barrel right here. As you can see, it's counting down. That's because there's a hopper underneath that's feeding the coal into the furnace, and when you walk back to the front you will see that the coal ends up in the furnace. Now once you add your potatoes to the top barrel right here, it will also count down and feed those into the furnace, which will automatically start cooking your potatoes. And after just a couple of seconds, there we go, our first baked potato. All of the potatoes have been added to the furnace and it's just cooking away now. And every time when a potato is baked, it's added to the barrel down below. Now while your crops are growing and your potatoes are cooking or baking, you can add your crops that you want to trade with villagers, for example, in some storage close by. All of the crops that you don't need, for example the wheat seeds, you can compost into bone meal, which you can use to grow trees or grow your crops faster, for example. For this, we have an automatic composter at the other side of the farm in the shape of a small windmill. I really like using these small windmills in my world, especially in the early days, because it just looks so nice and it also serves function. All you will need to do to compost all of your leftovers is add them to the barrel on top, which automatically feeds them into the composter, and eventually the bone meal will end up in the barrel down below. So if we just add the wheat seeds to the top right here, you can see the green particles on top of the composter, and as soon as it's full, it will add it to the barrel down below. There we go, it automatically generates bone meal for you. And that's it. So while we're over here, potatoes have been baking and we've got quite a few already. So let's replenish our health. There we go. And there's your steady supply of food. So that's how you operate these farms once they're done. Now let me show you how to actually build them. Let's start with the crop farm. Let's go. Now here you can see the layout for the crop farm. It's actually just a square in the middle. The dirt path around is just for decoration, as that is where we will place the fences and the cobblestone walls. Now to start out, you can dig away these 9 blocks in the middle and then place upside down cobblestone stairs in the corners like this. You can waterlog these stairs using a bucket of water. And then you can fill in the 5 blocks in between these stairs using some cobblestone blocks. Also place down 4 cobblestone blocks on the corners like this. And in between those cobblestone blocks place down some trapdoors. I use spruce. You can also place down a cobblestone block in the middle with a lever attached to it. Now when you flip the lever, the trapdoors should open. When you flip it again, they should close again. Do note that you have to flip it twice in order for the trapdoors to go back up again and retract the water. After that you can place down some fence posts on the corners like this with a slab on top, because we're now making the roof of the well. Get yourself up on these slabs, and once you're here you can place down a fence in the middle like this on top of the lever and attach top half slabs to it. Finish it off with a slab on top. You can get back down again. And you could delete this fence post and, for example, replace it for a lantern if you have this already, but this is just optional. For the surrounding fence, start with 2 cobblestone walls with a fence gate in between, then place 3 fences alongside, then place 3 walls. And now this is what you want to do all the way around. These fences and walls function mainly to keep the water inside of the farm without the risk of spilling over into areas where you don't want water. Now you can light it up using some torches. And then grab your hoe and till the soil all the way around the well in the middle. Don't forget to add water behind the trapdoors. And then all you need to do is plant your crops. While you're waiting for the crops to grow, you can replace some of the grass blocks around the farm with coarse dirt if you have access to that. It makes the farm stand out a little bit more from the landscape. Another thing you can do is create some storage close by. For example, create a wheelbarrow with just a barrel, a grindstone and a fence gate. Just like that. Here you can store all of your crops. Now I'm a big fan of decoration, so using some campfires, if you have access to this, and extinguish them, you can create these wooden piles. And using some bone meal that you'll get from the Bonemeal Farm we'll build later on in the video, you can place down some grass and flowers around your farm, and maybe you can even plant a tree. That's the perfect tree actually for what I wanted to do, because from this tree we can hang a lantern. Again, if you have access to this. Because this is meant to be built on day 2 or 3 of your world. After all of your crops have grown, all you will need to do is walk up to the well, pull the lever, the water will flow and destroy all of the crops. You can collect everything and put it in the barrel. That's a single harvest, which is pretty nice. And it gave us a bunch of potatoes that we can use as a food source by cooking them in a smelter. So let's build a smelter now. Here you can see the layout of the auto smelter. You might need a little bit more extra space for the decoration. The actual functional part of this farm fits in a 3x3 square. Start by placing a barrel in the ground with a hopper attached to it. Make sure that the hopper attaches to the barrel. You can then place a furnace on top of that hopper. If we have a smoker, you can place a smoker, which is a bit faster. And if you want to use this for ores, you might want to place down a blast furnace. Anyway, attach a hopper to the back of it with a barrel on top. This is where you are going to add your fuel. Now get up this barrel and place down a hopper on top of the furnace with a barrel on top of that. This is your input barrel, so it's where we are going to put the potatoes later on. Now I prefer this barrel the other way around, so let me just fix that. And actually, this is now functional. All we are going to do now is make it look pretty. We'll start with 2 pillars of 4 blocks high out of stone. It's best to use a mixture of natural stone, cobblestone and stone bricks. You can place down a couple of stairs next to the output barrel and some upside down stairs next to the input barrel with 1 stair block on top of the input barrel. At the back you also want to surround the fuel input. You can make this look a little bit more solid by placing down some blocks on top like this. And I like to cover up the hopper using a waxed exposed copper trapdoor. But I can imagine that you don't have access to this yet, so you can use any trapdoor you like. To anchor the smelter a little bit more into the ground, place down some stairs around the furnace. Now that looks pretty solid to me. Now grab a bunch of walls, for example out of stone brick, and build up 3 more levels onto the current top of your smelter. If you've done a caving trap already and you got access to some tuff and deepslate, I highly recommend adding a couple of those in there. It really adds to the feeling that this chimney has been used quite a bit. And then on top you can place down a campfire with 3 slabs surrounding it. For example deepslate, and surround it using trapdoors. Again, I use waxed exposed copper trapdoors. You can use any trapdoor you like. Surround the entire chimney with this. Now it still looks a little bit blocky to me, so I want to add a little bit more detail by replacing some of the walls with regular blocks, so it's less square, if you know what I mean. You can replace some of the blocks, remove some of it, add some. I hope that you can follow along what I'm doing here. It's a little bit of a creative process, so it all comes down to what you like. Take your time, look at it from a distance, look at it from close by, and make any modifications necessary to your taste. For me, I think that this looks pretty nice. I'm happy with this. The only thing I would like to add is some light. So I'm going to create a little bit of a lantern hanging from the side over here using a wall and a stair on top. You can also place down an exposed copper trapdoor or a regular trapdoor in front of the furnace, and you can place down an item frame in front of the hopper indicating what you're using this smelter for. In my case that's baked potatoes. Place down an item frame at the back as well, indicating that that's the fuel input, so I'm putting in a coal. And pretty much the last thing I'd like to add is a stair block right here. And that's it. Yeah, that's done. Let's go grab ourselves some potatoes and let's start cooking. So when we grab the potatoes from our storage barrel over here, all we need to do is walk up to the smelter, put it in our input barrel, walk to the back where we add some fuel, and then we wait. There we go. We've got our baked potatoes. Nom 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 nom. Now, again, to blend it a little bit more into the surrounding area, place down some coarse dirt if you have access to this. You can also do this later on. And maybe create some storage around where you can store some of your excess food. And there we go, all done. On to the last farm of the day, the Bonemeal Farm. Here's the layout for the Bonemeal Farm. And to be honest, you only need 1 block. It's very simple, but for the decoration you will want to have a little bit more space than this. Let's say a 7 by 7 square. Start by placing a barrel in the ground in the middle with a hopper on top. On top of that hopper place down a composter, and on top of that composter place down another hopper, and on top of that hopper we place another barrel. And that's it. That's your automatic bone meal farm. It's as simple as that. Place down your leftovers in the top barrel, it automatically feeds into the composter, and bone meal is automatically transported into the lowest barrel. That's it. All we are going to do now is decorate it. And we'll start with 4 cobblestone walls on the corners like this. Place down some spruce fences on top, and on top of those fences place down slabs. Also place down slabs on the top half of the barrel. Next to these top half slabs you can place down trapdoors and flip them down. Then on top place down a cross out of fences. Place another fence on top and a cobblestone wall on top of that. And on top of this cobblestone wall place down stripped spruce wood. Decide which way the windmill is going to go and then place 2 blocks to the side that's going into the front of the build, 1 block towards the back. At the back place down an upside down stair like this. Then towards the front you want to place down trapdoors at this spot all around to make it look a bit more solid. And then at the end of the stripped spruce wood place down 2 white wool on each side. On each end you are going to place stairs. And you want to pay attention to how you place these because they need to go into the same direction. Down here you should end up just above the trapdoor. Final thing to do is place a stone button in the middle and wooden buttons on top of the white wool. It gives it a little bit more detail. You can then place down a lantern or a torch at the back right here to make sure that no mobs spawn on top of this. And finally place down some trapdoors around the hoppers to cover them up. And there we go, we're all done already. You can blend in the build again using some coarse dirt if you have access to this. You can also do this later on. And now you can go and grab your leftover goodies from the storage barrel near your crop farm. We'll add that to the top barrel right here. And then we just wait until everything is composted and we get our bone meal. There we go, we got 7 bone meal from that. And we can use that to either create some flowers and some grass. And be sure to break the tall grass because you cannot see creepers through that. You can also use it to grow your crops a little bit faster or grow trees to get some more wood. Anyway, I think that the combination of these 3 farms will really get you going in your world. So I hope you like them and I hope that they are as simple as I think they are. But that's it for me. I hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Stick around, consider subscribing. And do note that world downloads are available to Patreon and YouTube members. If you have any questions about this build, I highly recommend joining our Discord server where we have a help channel where over 1400 people can help you out with your issues. And that's it. So have a great day and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers!